Hello, welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing an essay today. So the question here says, employers sometimes ask people applying for jobs for personal information, such as their hobbies and interests, and whether they are married or single. Some people say that this information may be relevant and useful. Others disagree. Discuss both these views and give your opinion. So, in the IELTS community, we know this is a discussion-led essay, but from the IELTS perspective, it has three main elements. So we need to address two camps, two different opinions, two usually opposing opinions. We have the two opinions here. Employers should ask personal information from their future employees, versus the other camp that believes that no, that's a violation of human rights. So if you want to hire someone, just go ahead and hire. If they meet the criteria, then that's it. It doesn't matter whether they're man or woman, they're single or married, whatever. So we have two camps, and then the third main opinion is the writer's opinion. The writer's opinion might fall under one of these categories, or might have a mind of its own, a part of its own, or a paragraph for its own. But still, these three elements must be addressed in the response. So let's read ahead and see what the response has to offer. Some employers are interested in gathering personally information related to people. Okay, so that's weird. It should be personal. It should be personal information. Because this now gives me the meaning that employers go door to door. They knock on, personally. They wear a suit, they get on a cab, or maybe they have a car for themselves, or the company car, and they go door to door, knock on the door, and they personally gather information from the individuals. You see how that is different from what we normally picture, like a boss in the office, air-conditioned office, sitting on the other side of the table while other people just knock on the door and come in. They have an interview. That's not the picture here. By just adding one ly at the end. So you see the message is now different. There are some debates about by the way, the message is different, but the reader will still understand what the writer wanted to say. So it's not like I'm left in the dark. I know. I considered it, and I will consider this either a slip or an error. There are some debates about being usefulness. A good trick, guys, when we don't know whether to use a noun or an adjective, try something simple. Like, do we say to be happy or to be happiness? Think about it. It is to be beauty or it is to be beautiful? Which one sounds more natural to your ears? It is to be beautiful. It is to be nice. So we feel that we need an adjective. So in this case, we can say being useful, because we need an adjective. Because NESS is a noun-making suffix. Let's move on. If this practice, which we will discuss here, okay. I see this in many essays. That's a very good way to basically structure your thesis statement. But I, as a reader, still don't know whether the writer believes in camp A or camp B, and which camp like comes first and which one comes next. I don't have this structure of the essay in my mind yet. So I either need to state it here and see it here as a reader, or wait all the way down into the conclusion and see where it goes in the conclusion. That may be, that wait may be worth it, maybe not, that depends. My suggestion, start your essay with clarity. It really helps you to just state your opinion in the beginning and say, yeah, I believe camp A is right. I believe camp B is right. Or maybe you want to state something like, I have my own opinion, which is which might be a little harder to handle. But again, in any shape or form, you need to state that at the beginning of this essay. On the one hand, like that. So we have on the one hand, on the other hand. On the one hand, so we have camp A. Those who favor, we don't need of, those who favor this practice, claim that. Which practice? I'm still confused. Claim that, we don't need the comma here. We claim that it could be useful for future plans of a company. Maybe getting personal information is the practice. It's not a good idea to use vague words or references in the very first sentence of your paragraphs. Remember, a paragraph is an independent entity. Yes, it is in connection with the previous paragraphs. Yes, we know that. But just jumping onto the topic while assuming your reader already knows what it's all about is a risky move, and it doesn't contribute to clarity. By asking personal questions like marital status or interests, it needs to be pluralized, a company can form a reliable database which is helpful for strategic decisions, such as the increase of salary related to an employee who is married or single. Okay, we had a long and rather too complex sentence, and I still expect more explanation, because okay, I understand that's a very good opening. This is a good major supporting sentence, but let's see if the minor supporting sentence supports that. These statistics could take into account to make a balance, to strike a balance, good, between the salary of a single person and a married employee. Okay, fine. Both of them should be employees. We're not talking about people. And we don't need all the people on the planet. We just, our audience in this essay are employees and their personal information status when applying for a job. So let's see. 1 second, let me adjust my glasses. Okay. In addition, asking for hobbies, we don't need a, because it's already plural, could be useful for employers. The essay clearly knows the difference between an employer and an employee, as they could create a room for them where employees, nice, can refresh their minds. Okay, we need a full stop here. These spaces or these rooms can be relevant to each employee's interest, very well punctuated. Apostrophe comes before S because we're talking about a singular noun here, which is countable. to each employee's interests. I would still generalize because there isn't just one interest. It usually is more than one. It leads to establishing a convenient place for them, which will increase the output of the company. Another very nice claim, which is correct, but I still need one more sentence to explain how effective that could be. The outcome, the output, in which sense? I understand it can be in financial way or productivity, but we need to state that. All in all, a very good paragraph. I understood the claims, I understood the structures, and that's Camp A. Now let's move on to Camp B. On the other hand, opponents claim that, I don't need the comma again, claim that this act is not relevant, as we don't need a comma again, as the skill of each person is important. Skills rather than obtaining private information. Instead of obtaining private information, which could be disturbing for them, or rather than obtain private information, which could be disturbing for them. Okay, I see grammar here is not contributing to clarity. I have issues. This is a topic sentence, so it's the first sentence, it's the most important sentence of this particular paragraph, and I'm already a bit confused. I have a feeling what it has to say. I know I'm in Camp B, but I don't know where it leads us, so let's read ahead. Some individuals, there's no need to say of, or maybe you wanted to say some of the individuals, and then we had another issue of who those individuals are, and it's again confusing, so now let's move on. Some individuals are not comfortable in giving private information, especially those who have experience. Oh, those who have experienced a tragic story in this regard. Okay, maybe one example would be nice here. Moreover, by giving private information, employees feel that they are, no need for a comma, they are permanently under supervision, comma. No, we need a semicolon here, not another comma. Gosh, I mean, why are there so many commas here? This impact could be unconscious, no comma, because they have been faced with many questions in this regard, and answering so many questions, queries have had negative influence on them. Yeah, I see errors again. I see more important errors than spelling errors, so I'm again, it's getting, the messages are intertwined. I have a hard time following the line of reasoning here. Another reason is that, no comma, it could be the waste of time for a company or for companies, no comma again, as gathering unrelated questions and processing them, which demand, this comma is needed, that's good, which demand, what, we don't need this, which demand ample workforces, lead to spending a lot of energy as well as money, which will be paid to them. Now I don't know who them is, because now I am lost. I see too many them. You can already understand from my voice that I'm lost a little more than a little here to process and maintain this database. I assume this might be the employer's team who is in the recruitment part, but again, there is no mention of them in the paragraph. The second paragraph was definitely in lower level than the first one. In conclusion, there are different arguments about gaining private information of employees. Some of them could be useful for future planning. Some of them or some of it. Does it refer to information or does it refer to the employees? Some of it could be useful for future planning. Referencing is an issue here, while others say that it could be distracting and a waste of resource. And we need a comma here. And I agree with the second argument. So finally, at the very, very, very last sentence in the essay, I realized what the writer had in mind. And that was that the writer agrees with the second group, with the second camp. This means that one of the three main ideas of this essay was just addressed. The essay just touches on the idea and leaves. There is not much development, or the development is there, but there isn't much connection. So this this touch and go is not acceptable. And that definitely reflects on the task response. You may see that a 6 is deserved here because, yes, there are two camps and both of them were developed to some extent. The quality of the development is still a topic for other columns. But the third one, the writer's opinion, is only addressed. And because of that, this column receives a 6. So important, guys, all three elements must receive proper acknowledgement and proper development. If only a single one of the main ideas is not addressed, or addressed but not fully developed, then that will determine your score. So IELTS checks all three elements individually and independently. And they don't say, yeah, overall the development is quite well. There is no overall development. Each element independently and separately are developed. Whether are checked, whether they are well developed or sufficiently developed or just addressed. And that determines your overall score. Coherence cohesion is fine, lexical resource is fine. The vocabulary, sorry, I forgot to mention in coherence and cohesion, you see, referencing is not always appropriate. That is one of the reasons this is a 6. Also, paragraphing is not always logical, especially the second body paragraph. In a lexical resource, we understood the message, so the message is not lost. But the issue that confused me were mostly in grammatical range and accuracy, that the errors actually, reduced communication, not in many or multiple cases, but in a couple of sentences we saw that. Anyway, this is a 6, and again, I need to tell you, remember that your essays, your reports, your letters are going to be your representatives. So make sure they do their jobs, which is going to be representative of you, well. Have a lovely day ahead.